Welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cloud Podcast, the podcast where we learn from cybersecurity experts how to stay safe, private, and secure on the cloud and in code. CSCP is hosted by Francesco Cipollone, your cybersecurity friend with a passion for all things cyber and sharing stories of other professionals with you. This episode is sponsored by AppSec Phoenix, the next generation application security platform, enabling organizations to run application security programs in a smart way. Visit www.appsecphoenix.com to learn more.
Topic that I want to discuss is probably the vCISO, because that's a new role that is coming up, and I've been vCISOing around a few clients. But how do you become a vCISO? What does it mean?
I don't know. I was auditor before. So for me, Virtual CISO is I'm taking them through a journey of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more like getting a structure in place. So this is especially for the one I do, especially for companies who hasn't got good security. You know, some of them doesn't even have a security policy when they started. And then taking them through that journey of how do you build your team? How do you change your culture to be more security aware, more privacy aware? And so I got a friend here. I'll show you. Here's the naughty rascal making noises.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You want to be in the podcast as well.
Yeah. Hi, Teddy. So it's pretty much how do you create that culture, support, and also the governance, and also improving their maturity model. So eventually they are more resilient and they know how to handle cyber attack. You know, how to continue business with that and how to learn from it and grow from that. So I normally engage with clients with a gap assessment so I can understand their posture.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go and conduct a gap assessment and then find out from their people, process, technology, all areas, and their privacy elements as well. And from that, then I get a good understanding of what the culture is, what the management thinks, and how people are, behaving. All these things, I get a good understanding. Then I have designed a program where they go through certain stages, and that would be including getting certified. Like first, you get your cyber essentials.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe ISME and privacy side of things, then ISO 27000, and also building capability within teams, vulnerability management.
Let's remind everybody that certification compliance doesn't mean security.
No, exactly. So some companies just go through compliance just to tick that box. So this is why you need. Yeah, exactly. That's why you need that cultural transformation. You don't make sure that you apply those correct controls correctly, and you know how to manage your connected devices, the people, process. You have a process around your technology, all that. And so it's a journey. Some companies, it can take longer. It's how they do things. And I always get the management involved. Leadership is key, because if the leadership buy-in is not there, nothing down the line really matters, because, then it doesn't you don't get the right funding. Yeah, exactly.
Top-down approach is still the right approach.
Yeah. So the clients I've gone through, they're more medium-sized clients that I've got now, which I'm doing the virtual CISO for. And so some of them started with one person joining me on the call saying, okay, how do we start this? And
That's
now they've gone through, so no security policy or anything. But over the months, now they got their IT teams trained to, if something goes wrong, how to handle incidents. Their security teams are trained. They got a CISO, they got a DPO. So the team grew as we, build their security posture. Yeah, so
this you got traction.
Yeah, so we have a structure, because I don't want people to go through and say, look, I'm the VC, so you do what I say, ask you to do. But it's going through that structure. We have a program of going through different maturity levels, and I'm loving it, because every time it's a different customer, different client, and I get to learn about their culture as well, understand how things work. And some of the companies, they have offices in Australia, UK, and Sri Lanka, and some of them UK, India. So they work in completely different,
the people
ways.
Aspect back again, and the culture of sharing and the culture of admitting failure. I've seen that in different locations is treated as everybody has a very different approach on on how to treat an audit or how to treat maturity matrix or maturity models.
Yeah.
So like how do you use the maturity model and how it is perceived?
And also like basic cyber hygiene. Even there's like, I've had big companies who doesn't even have the basic cyber hygiene, but they have like this big, expensive security technology gadgets and things like that.
And the ISO 27001 compliant.
Yeah, but to their data center or the IT cabinet, exactly, but not for the whole company.
I've actually seen one room being ISO 27001 for a company. Nobody actually even mentioned.
Really?
Yeah. You can pass anything if you have the right or the wrong auditor.
But I didn't think the broom. I mean, I would
the broom closet, but it's like part of the company that didn't have any IT, so not even data center.
Oh yeah, I've seen that as well. So where like they would have their
office is ISO 27001. It's like you don't keep anything in the office. It's like you have people, so eventually you certify a couple of processes and that you have a backup strategy for people. But and that's the whole thing about compliance is not security.
Yeah. So I always highlight the importance of going through cyber hygiene, and also vulnerability management. If you don't have proper vulnerability management programs as well, then how are you managing your vulnerabilities? How do you grow from that kind of thing? Yeah. So and
how
also
do you involve the risk and compliance and the rest of the management team on recognizing the risk and adopt the culture of risk acceptance without understanding the impact? That's a big transformation I'm going through right now as well.
Creating different portfolios, your operations side, your risk, GRC, compliance, all that. How do you separate, cross-train people or train new hires, things like that. So it's taking them through that journey. And when I first started, I was never one who would like to do one CISO job because I thought it would be very challenging. For me, I would never take on a job like that because first, I don't have the experience to be like a CISO for a bigger company yet. And
you tend to burn out.
Yeah, you get burnout. And
there's a lot of responsibility as well.
Yeah. So that's why I started with small to medium companies. And like most of my clients are SMB type clients for Virtual CISO. And that helped me because looking back, they started with nothing, but now they're gone through matured and everyone's aware. I mean, the moment I go in, they know who I am because they're going through that painful process of, okay, Chani said to do this. It's like,
they've gone from kindergarten to primary school.
Yeah, it's fun. And some people come and even tell me like, I'm talking like you now. Everywhere I go, I ask questions when they collect my data.
I don't know if that's a positive or a negative thing.
I think it's a positive thing. You should always ask questions. So it's very satisfying. I really love what I do.
Good. You're leaving the mark. You're leaving a good mark.
Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by the generosity of AppSec Phoenix Ltd. AppSec helps startups and enterprises solve complex software security problems by using smart data aggregation and complex machine learning software. Discover how AppSec Phoenix helps CISO and developers remove friction and maximize the use of DevSecOps professionals at www.appsecphoenix.com. AppSec Phoenix is the new and smart dev-first way to manage your software vulnerability. Follow the tag #AppSecSmart.
So we talk about the vCISO at a very high level, but if you mentioned people want to start getting in cyber, want to start getting in cyber, well, I want to mention a few forums that we have so that people know where to go, and I share the links in the video when I share the podcast. But most important, how do you start in cyber? What are the paths that you have available? What is the one that you're comfortable sharing, where you grow and evolve? And then I share my view.
I think for me, it's curiosity, Am I being hacked? Am I protected? Where's my data? All these things has to start within. You need to understand, the mobile device, this is probably the most powerful device, and it's a whole life out there, right? Who's protecting it? Are we protected? And who's watching us? Is anybody watching us? Things like that. I always think that I'm being hacked. and you become
always assume the worst.
Yeah,
that's the key thing. Is like you become paranoid is a perk of the job.
Yeah. So, and I try to question a lot of the things I see. So if someone has that curiosity and wanting to learn, the passion also, then you can start anywhere, really. I mean, there are a lot of platforms. SHe CISO is one of the platforms where you can, get in. But I think the internet is out there. There's so many free content out there that if one wants to learn, they can start with YouTube,
but
for example.
I think it's getting overwhelming. I mean, there is so much free content that if you wanna, I have a lot of people ask me, okay, where do I start? There is so much stuff. Do I start on the infrastructure side? Do I start on the cloud because now cloud is cool? Do I start on pen testing?
Those people have at least got to that stage. They know what cloud and infrastructure is, right? For someone who's really new, like let's say, take for someone like coming from accounting background, had no experience in cybersecurity, or a student, where do they start? I think internet is the first place to start, because there's so much to learn and research on about. I mean, nowadays we're used to Googling everything, right? So have you done that part? If someone has not even done that part, then I don't think they're interested, to be honest, because
it can be overwhelming. So I tend to hit with a lot of people that are overwhelmed. It's like, where do I start? Really, where do I start?
Yeah, I mean, look at something like, say, for example, if you want to start painting, what would you do?
You Google how to start painting, how to paint.
Right. So, and then what kind of painting is out there, and what kind of different styles of art and painting. So it's a similar thing, right? I mean, I can remember when I came to UK, I didn't even know how to make a cup of tea, or even cook.
That's a crime.
Yeah.
If you don't, not being able to cook in UK is fine, but not being able to make a cup of tea, that's a crime.
I got to a point like, I'm starving. I had to start from somewhere. So I started Googling, how to do things, how to cook. So I learned, and I'm probably one of the best cooks. Ask my husband. I can really cook well, and I can bake lots of nice cakes. I learned all from YouTube. Just watching YouTube, and I got really good at things and decorations. So it's just like that. Cybersecurity is not any different. How do you protect yourself from different threats? You're clever enough not to put your child out there for people to come and touch them. You have all your jewelry and all the assets hidden inside your house somewhere. You have different layers of putting physical security. You have the best locks you can get, the gate, the dogs, the guards, whatever, right? So thinking about how do you apply that in digital life?
Even though your dog doesn't look like much of a security dog, it doesn't like security.
No, it's not. It's just common sense, right? Yes. And thinking about how can you be protected, because your data is out there, and companies now can even tell how depressed you are by just looking at how you type or how you move your cursor around.
You can't avoid that without going full paranoid. I think there is a threshold that you need to have, or going full tinfoil hat, paranoid, closed in a room, and everything is disconnected. In order to use the tool that you have available right now, you have to compromise on data, that your data is going to be out there. And as you said previously, assume breach.
Yeah, breach, or just getting robbed. Once you get robbed, okay, next time I'm not going to carry my wallet in the bag. I should put it in there. So it's like,
or maybe check every now and then.
Yeah. So and it's the same thing. What happens if your bank credit card gets stolen? Someone took a loan out of your name. Things like that, and it happens to every one of us nowadays, and it's common thing. So it's just that curious, so assuming that, and then taking precautions, so one step at a time. So that's why it has to start within, with you. If you are not taking it seriously, you can't go and preach other people, you need to do these things. And also your family. And I'm so against when people go and put their children's pictures online. I just don't know why they do it, because they have no right to put your child's picture. Yeah, exactly. That kind of things that, you need to think before you act. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? What is the purpose of, what are you trying to achieve? Things like that.
Awareness is getting better, though. People don't share passwords. Well, sometimes they do adjust a little mine from the whiteboard when you do on video and stuff like that. But
I mean, it's the stuff that, we learn at when you were kids, your parents don't eat things, if a stranger gives you sweets and things, don't, talk to strangers.
If a stranger sends you a file, don't.
Yeah. So
don't
why not
files from strangers?
Exactly. Why do you click on that attachment? Why do you click on the link if you don't know the person?
Because there is no culture, so there is no education in terms of this thing. Maybe it's getting better right now. There is a lot of organization that does teaching. Dr. Jessica Barker is doing a lot of this activity with. I don't remember when was the last one, but she does a lot of this awareness for school and kids. I think you should get a little bit better at basic cybersecurity hygiene. It's like how you keep your password, what kind of information you share online, how do you not trust people online? Because we naturally trustworthy people. It's like people trust each other by nature.
Yeah.
And that's the opposite thing about security. But it is getting, from my perspective, it's talking more about it. It's getting more public without demystifying and going all paranoid. Because that's the drawback of it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we're all going to get hacked. It's just we don't know when, and it's taking that precautions, little things, and even for some people think, I'm not in cybersecurity. I don't want technical stuff. I don't like technology, but you can't do that, and you need to have some kind of understanding of what kind of tech is around you. Starting from your phone. Using a phone. Are you using, like the other day we were doing a test to see what phones are vulnerable for Bluetooth attacks. And it was a vulnerability that has come out like years ago, and there were still phones coming up with
same vulnerability
with Bluebone attacks. Yeah, so things like that. When you're buying a phone, you have to look at is it supported still? Where is it coming from? Is it a fake phone or is it an original phone? Does it get patched often? And what kind of controls are you going to put in to make sure that data is safe? Little things, starting at home. I think I don't encourage people to say, yes, you have to be the hacker straight away, right? It's just little common sense that you need to, little step at a time, that you need to look at and not think security is rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's just applying all those practical things and common sense into your life and taking one step at a time. But for someone who wants to really get into security, they always find a way.
So if you boil it down to one, it's like be distrustful and ask questions.
Yeah, you should operate on zero trust.
Zero trust people, zero trust network, zero trust phone, zero trust anything, zero trust dog.
Yeah. I mean, I may be wrong, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think a lot of people have, there might be people who agree with that, but, it's just finding what makes you comfortable because you can't really trust anyone 100%. And it's not because people are untrustworthy, but because people can do stupid things, right? Without knowing. And so that's why you have to always be cautious and
second question everything.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've run almost to the end of it. Unless there is any other question that we can actually ask without being banned from YouTube.
I'll pass.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What did she say?
No, I'll tell you later.
I said I'll pass. Twitter drama. What about Twitter drama?
No,
we
can't talk about Twitter drama. I personally banned that topic from this Mentoring Monday.
Yeah, I still don't know how to operate Twitter, so I just too much.
It just goes in cycle. The drama goes in cycle. I had my fair share of it. Other people close to me had their fair share of it. It's like, I think it's a Partisan's bias. Like if you say, it goes back to actually saying something that somebody could feel it affect them personally, and then it's again managing people. Is again the skill. It's like managing people, managing emotion. And I had to say, to be fair, right now, nowadays on social media, you always have to be positive and nice. You can't take position because I think it's really hard to take position on anything.
I think constructive criticism is not bad. And you should always, there's this saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. And being constructive is a different way, but I don't believe in calling out on people or anything like that, because sometimes if there's a conflict or disagreement, I think it's best to take it outside of social media and have a talk, chat.
No, I agree.
Understand, yeah.
I agree. It's like shouting at a person in public in the middle of a room. You're going to get the worst possible reaction from that person or that group of person ever. So
because we always have to understand people come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and the way they think is different. And we always have to check the evidence and the facts as well, before we say something or make an assumption of someone. We always have to think, are we making the right decision? Have we given a fair chance for that person? So that kind of thing, I think is important. And social media can break you, or I don't know, it's just
elevator break you from a day to another.
Yeah, it can get really unpleasant, and end of the day, you're the one who can suffer. So is it worth taking that risk, or just leaving it? It's also
we're human beings. I think we all make mistakes. We all learn from our mistake, and I think that's the important of it. And the best advice I can give to everybody: don't think that because you're behind the keyboard you're sheltered. Is actually the opposite.
Yeah, true, very true. I mean, you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, I think because if you're in a big room full of people and you need to address them collectively, or you have to address one person individually, social media management skills, another element to teach in your SHe CISO exam.
Yeah, we talk about a lot around emotional intelligence side of things and branding and building eminence as well. So one of my favorite topics, I think, more than branding, I like building eminence, adding value to the communities and your teams and society. I think that's how we should go on about, and also having good ethics and values.
Nice, a nice, good, positive message at the end. And I think, unfortunately, we reached the end of it. So, new beginning of the year. Chani, you've been the first guest, despite the technical difficulties and dogs.
Sorry about the technology issues.
No, it always happens. Always blame the technology.
Yeah, and the dogs.
And the dogs. It's a new one. Always blame the technology and the dogs. I like that.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Is it 9? 8 o'clock here. So thank you so much for having me. It's always been fun joining these calls. Okay, then thank you very
so
much. Thanks for listening.
And enjoy the hot weather.
And great 2020.
Good luck for the 2020.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and post it on social media tagging Cybersecurity Cloud Podcast for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Discover other episodes at www.cybersecuritypodcast.com.